Okay, so integrating Kelsey into church has been hard. Because I grew up in a very strict church environment, and I know a lot of you understand where I'm coming from. You grow up with some of the old ladies sitting in church and looking at you stupid because you're talking, you're making a noise, whatever. And Kelsey, she makes a noise. First of all, she doesn't like crowds, so it was difficult. We couldn't go with her to church. And because I was kept busy in church, my husband and I made the decision we would take turns going to church. We'll leave at home, and 1 week he would go and 1 week I would go. But because I was kept so busy, I played the organ and at other functions as well. And eventually, it would be my husband would be at home for a couple of weeks at a time. And as Kelsey grew older, and of course I realized also part of the situation was partly my mistake, because, like I say, the way I grew up and I knew people would be offended with Kelsey making a noise in church. I never gave anybody the opportunity to learn and understand what Kelsey needed. And eventually we stopped going to church. I think it was about 5 or 6 years that we just stayed at home. And now, I was originally a member of Riverside Church. And I grew up in the church. And eventually, God was speaking to me. And now where I live, Newfields Church is actually closer to me. And God kept saying to me, go to Newfields. And when you get lazy, you're like, yeah, no, it's too difficult. No, you make an excuse. And eventually, but okay, my other excuse was my husband. I'm going to put the blame on me. Because I would say, let's go to church. And he'd go, no. Because it was just too difficult for him as well. And God kept speaking to me. And eventually, I think it's about a year and a half ago, I just went to church. And I went to Newfields. And now the difference with Newfields is that the church is big, but the congregation is small. And whereas Riverside, all of you know Riverside, it's a huge church with way too many people. And I walked in. First I went alone for a couple of weeks, and then eventually we brought Kelsey to church. And it's been such a blessing in that church. Trust me, we walk into church, Kelsey starts making a noise. From the minute we walk in, she is making a noise. Sometimes right through the service. Not a single person turns around. Who's that? Not a single person. They all love Kelsey. If I come to church without her, everybody wants to know, where's Kelsey? Is she okay? So it's been such a blessing that we can go to church now with Kelsey and nobody worries that she's making a noise. Or she's fed up and is dragging her father out of church because she's had enough of sitting here. Because those are the things that happen. So, yes, people need to change because a lot of us grow up, very strict. One of the things I always admire being here in this church, I'm always watching when one of you get up, you're always crouching down out of respect, and I'm like, wow, that is just such a beautiful thing. But we have this preconceived idea of what church has to be. Yeah. And with that, we exclude a lot of people. Hey. So yes, we are hoping that this somehow, with these programs, that people learn. I know a lot of us have empathy, and with these brothers, one is deaf and one is blind, and you all jump up and you are ready to help them. But when you see my child, you are not going to know what to do. You see? Because you don't know. And so the minute she makes a noise, you're going to go, and now? So yes, people, we have to learn. And I think my child was probably the most severe when it comes to, being in an environment like this because, in church we're always supposed to be quiet and paying attention. I mean, mommies with children, you all have the same problems with your little children. So, but Kelsey is not going to sit quietly, So yes, it's a learning curve for everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing. I'm just having one last question, one last advice we would like to get from you as the church, right? You're welcome not to say anything if you feel you don't have to say anything. But the aim of this program is to sensitize our church into people who are having some disabilities and who are differently abled. And as some of you have outlined your skills and your strengths and how you're adjusting in different environments, we are here because we want to make sure that people like us are fully included and integrated into our worship in our church. Please give us a piece of advice in terms of just one or two things, because of time, one or two things to say, okay, if there are any gaps that you have noted in our church that you still need to fill, what is that one or two things that you feel that the church needs to do this? Give them something to think about. I wish this can be changed in church so that I feel, or people like me, feel that they are fully integrated. They don't have to stay for 6 years away from church.
Number one, what we would love to see, as in the morning, Pastor noted that many of our churches do not have accessible bathrooms. So we want to see to it that this is addressed urgently. There should be bathrooms that are also accessible for wheelchair users. This will go a long way because sometimes the church has funerals. There are other people who are using wheelchairs and crutches. They will use bathrooms. So that is one point. Secondly, the church elders should never undermine people with disabilities. When there is a need for a program, we need to be included. Please consult us. Don't think that maybe we'll say no or so. Consult with us whether we want to participate in such a program so that we get prepared. The church should be all inclusive. Everything that is happening in the church, we need to be part as well as children of God. Thank you very much.